mob. Exciting developments with Lord Monckton and many others filing criminal complaints, lawsuits in the process of being filed. Now the BBC's having to admit maybe climate change is a fraud being man-made. I mean, we have underestimated just how devastating ClimateGate has been to these enemies.
And I'm very happy about it. We're making a difference, Alex.
You were telling me during the break about some suits getting filed. Fill us in.
Right. John O'Sullivan, legal advocate, who has for several years litigated government corruption cases in both Britain and the United States, is going to be filing, and he's in league with a top fraud lawyer named Joel Hench of Hench and Associates. And the tack that they're taking, and incidentally, there's another fellow here who's involved with Mr. O'Sullivan, who is a former Central Intelligence Agency agent named Kent, K-E-N-T, Clisby. And what they're trying to do is get some of the co-workers at Penn State to substantiate the emails that were discovered between Michael Mann, who is a professor.
But Mann admits he wrote it.
That's true. But they want substantiation. And if they can get substantiation, what will happen is the government will try to recoup, and I think the figure is $23 million that they plunge.
Yeah, they're going after the fraud of these universities getting massive federal and grants off of scamming.
And they want the money back, and then when they get the money back, they share it with the people who said, yeah, he did that, he said that, and, he said the whole thing was a scam, that sort of thing. And that's what they're looking for, and that's the tack they're taking for openers. I don't know about criminal proceedings, but there should be. Unfortunately, very often there isn't. The government's more interested in retrieving money than they are putting people away, because one is good because they get their money back because they made a mistake. On the other hand, if you put people in jail, it costs them $40,000, $50,000 a year, and so they would really rather get the money. And so we haven't heard. This is the beginning of this thing. Sure, it's been going on for a couple of months now, but it's starting to gel. It's just like the problems that we're seeing on Wall Street with Goldman Sachs. I wrote about what Goldman had done in the collateralized debt obligation.
You wrote about it 2 years ago before the collapse, and now it's confirmed. Mainstream media, they engineered it all.
That's right. And we bleated and yelled and screamed and says, why hasn't anybody sued? Now, these are the institutions that bought this bogus paper. And then finally, we're starting to see lawsuits by labor unions, funds, states who have been built.
Police unions.
Yes, and it's going to grow. And now we have in the front page the AIG scam, which was $112.4 billion.
But it was just the holding company for Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan Chase, correct?
I can't say that because I don't know.
But it was divvying up the goodies. Most of the money that went to them was paid out to those guys.
Right, but there was another aspect to it, and that was the insuring of different risks. And AIG ran naked on them. They had no collateral to back up their bet, so to speak. They were the bookmaker taking the bet. And all of the recipients who were involved in doing business with AIG, because of the bankruptcy, they were left out in the cold, $112.4 billion.
And if they're not paid back, which they haven't been, that will destroy confidence in the system.
Exactly. So what the Fed did is they created the money out of thin air, ran it through AIG, and they said, look, you guys keep your mouth shut, because if you open it, we'll destroy you. That's what went on. I wasn't there. I don't know that those are the exact words.
But that's why the White House ordered banks to take the money, so they'd be part of the fraud.
Right. And so now you got a whole bunch of people involved. And I think Timothy Geithner is toast, because he was at the New York Fed at the time, and he was the guy that said, look, you got to keep your mouth shut, because we can't let the American public know that everybody's getting paid off and the taxpayer is paying for it.
Well, that's like when Bank of America said we were told to shut up and take the money. Geithner tried to deny it, and then Bank of America just released the audio.
Isn't that beautiful? What sweet justice.
Well, you got the rats fighting with each other. We'll be right back with Bob Chapman on the other side to get his economic view of what's happening in 2010 and beyond. And your phone calls, stay with us. Okay, by early next week, I will get the 3 contest rules written up. Our 3 contests to expose the naked body scanners. And I did see, after we talked about it, people in England protesting naked. They did it before we even talked about it or thought of it ourselves separately, of people to protest naked, to illustrate to the world that you are being recorded naked. You know, something extreme to get media attention. Extreme things happening, take extreme measures. Because they're going to make you be scanned naked and lose your privacy and be humiliated to train you to accept all this if we don't say no and stand up against this. But I told you 2 or 3 days ago when I first talked about that isn't the official contest. We're just thinking of ideas of things that would get media attention and point out how horrible this is. The more I think about it, though, I'm not going to have a contest specifically where we say, you know, whoever has the best topless protest. Okay? That would certainly be the most devastating thing to the media. It would get the attention and point out you're going to be recorded naked. You understand, if we don't stop this, the government's going to force you to do it and have mobile vans driving around doing it, and brain scanners and passive body scanners that scan your naked body from a distance. That's now in the mainstream news today, up on prisonplanet.com and Infowars.com. But if people are already having those protests before we even thought of the idea separately, people always think of the same, I think like 10 guys invented radio the same month around the world, not just Marconi of Italy. But it's just the best protest video. You have a protest or you go to a protest, you edit the best video that has Infowars in it. That way we get the hits and visitors, and it goes a little ways towards paying out the $10,000 in prize money. We'll announce it next week with specific rules, got to follow local laws and all that, and you will win. And people can do whatever they want in the demonstration. In fact, I even said that day, I don't think you specifically, to be part of the contest. I'm saying people could go out and be naked, and, the best naked or partially naked or maybe in bikinis or whatever to point out to get media attention. It would definitely be a giant, devastating action against them. But I am not going to have the contest specifically be for that. I think it could be anything you think of, any idea you have. Also, the best poster that you post in legal public places and then videotape. And we've had several contests in the past, like the Obama Joker poster situation. So that is all coming up next week. The best stunt that's legal and lawful, $5,000 to expose the body scanners. The best media stunt. The best poster posted in public and then videotaped. So you'll win for the best video of the stunt, the best video of the posters, and the best video of the demonstration. Total $20,000 in prizes. $5,000 for the best poster video, $5,000 for the best stunt video, and $10,000 for the best overall protest. And you can decide yourself what you think is the best thing to do. So that is coming up. We'll have specific rules and details. And I told you with the boycotts, I'm getting your ideas, your emails, your calls of the best boycott to call for next week. So we're also going through that process right now. We're percolating. We're putting ideas out there. We're seeing what you think of them. I would say 90+% of people like the idea of the naked protest. 10% or so don't like it. Regardless, it's about stopping the naked body scanners, them making you go through it and be recorded. We're going back to Bob Chapman in a moment. We'll get his take on the body scanners and then get some more economic news and go to your calls. Bob Chapman's view of the economy in the next year, gold, the dollar, and then we're going to go to your calls. But first, Bob, the naked body scanners. Do you believe, as I do, this is an outrageous push to make people capitulate and submit to government? Because if you'll let them record your naked body, you'll put up with anything.
Psychological warfare. You've got it. You got it nailed. Phil Watson's 2 articles, the first 2 articles, and tomorrow's the end of the U.S. section on this body scanning. It's dreadful, but it is to demean people and bring them down to the level that they can be handled like cows or other kinds of animals. This is what it's all about, control. And this phony baloney African from Nigeria supposedly blowing up a plane. Give me a break. You've seen the background on this young man and his father, haven't you?
Oh, the whole thing's completely staged. The sharp-dressed man leading him on, the second bomber found, the FBI lied, now they admit it. I mean, as they launch the body scanners, it happens. As they launch the attacks in Yemen, it happens, completely staged. Right as the cruisers and troops land, the bombing happens. I mean, perfect timing, same MO.